There's this guy called Dan Koe. He is a Twitter god, Instagram quotes guy, YouTube wisest guru. He's making millions of dollars using only his system multiplied by the power of the internet. Guy who speaks gold with every sentence. Guy who has a system for everything. Guy who sees the future in gold. And a role model for many. And you are probably thinking, okay, what's his secret? I want it too. Let's go. Dan Koe's story and philosophy. So we will start this journey in 2016 when Dan is 20 years old, and he's just a normal dude. He is like you and me. He's really nothing extraordinary, but he has one very important quality that will make him unique in the future. Can you guess what that is? He has actually two. One of them is being observant, and adding this with this secret value. This is what makes him counterintuitive and going where no one goes. So Dan, being 20 years old, knows one thing. He doesn't want to go to 9 to 5 because he knows it will limit his abilities to make money. He has a lot of interests, but he would like to go for business and make a lot of money. He decided that he will go to college just to try it out, major in business, and also because he just wanted to avoid 9 to 5. He is always willing to try, following his curiosities, which will be important in his later stages. He sees on YouTube people talking about fitness, and he is really into it. And he has a lot of knowledge, he has a lot of expertise in that realm.
I'll be honest, that's pretty hot.
And he just thinks, wow, why can't I do the same? With his friend, they start this YouTube fitness channel. His first business, but after a few months, he just realized it's really burning him out and doesn't work like that. So he just calls it quits. One of the most important events in Dan's young life is this weed case. So Dan was just smoking with his friend and he was caught by the police. He didn't go to jail or to arrest even. And he thought he was okay. But after a few months he got a letter saying that either he will go to the court or he will pay $10,000 and go for this testing in random times. So for a broke college student that Dan was at the time, it was really hard. Things that he fucked up his life. And then someone recommends the book to him, The Power of Now. Dan reads the book, and this is an emotional one. It really answers all of his questions and all of his doubts. Worry vanish. And he just, with a new mindset, he attacks this weed case. So this is maybe the most important thing in his life because he learned responsibility, he learned how much he values freedom, and maybe the most important one, he opened the door for spirituality, which will be an important thing in his life in the future. As Dan has a lot of interest, he goes to photography. He bought a new camera for YouTube, but then he quits YouTube, so he just started taking photos. But what he was really into was so Dan decides to post those photos on Instagram. And this is also really important step for him because he learned art, design, and how social media works. And Dan is good at it. He is sitting every day, few hours in his room, listening to music and flow, the concept that he will be talking in each of his videos. So he is in a flow state, the state of complete immerse in the creative task that is both challenging and matches your skill level. And Dan says that this is his dream, working on something that he's so much into and people are interested in it. And he gained like 2,000 followers on Instagram, and this was amazing for him. But there was one problem. Dan didn't know how to monetize it. Being the businessman wannabe, he asked himself the most important question that every businessman asks himself at some stage of his career. How can I make 6 figures online quickly? So there's a trend. Facebook ads agency, as he's willing to try new things, goes into it. He buys the course with his credit card and he just immerses himself in learning. He learns about clients acquisition, cold DMs, cold emails, Facebook ads, marketing, a lot of things. You know this feeling. You have something new, you're so inspired, and you start working towards it. And then you try those few emails and it's And Dan had the same. He tried like 50 emails and then he said, no, this is not for me. I really don't care about those. He then asks himself what he's really into, and he has the answer. Rave Festivals. He loves those festivals and he knows those people and he knows what they buy. So he gets the idea, the perfect idea, the brilliant idea. The product that he will be known for. Diamond brass.
Yes, 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 yes!
Do you know those videos? Young millionaire CEO, day in life, blah blah blah. Always same story. They had shit childhood, no money, dropshipping e-commerce store. They bought the product for $3, were selling it for $9, and it was so shit. But then the tide changed and people started buying and they sold 1 million copies, became millionaires, and their life changed, and this is so awesome. And Dan sold nothing, not even one diamond bra. So at this time, Dan goes changing majors all the time because he didn't know what to do. And he tried this coding class in college. He saw this opportunity. Like, this is a creative job. You don't have to have the degree. You just need skills and you can freelance with it and you don't have to go to 9 to 5. Amazing. So he doubles down on it. And this is also an important thing about Dan. He can teach himself whatever he wants. He is immersed in this flow state of learning. This is amazing. So Dan goes and he says that he made 1-year curriculum in 3 weeks. So Dan enters this world of coding. Then he sees his opportunity because he knows how important the value is. He sees those web developers spending hours by the computer, and then he has his $1 million product. This time for real. Maybe you will guess what that is. With blue light glasses. But the problem is he doesn't have any money. He's in debt. So he decides to call his dad. In a joking manner, he asks his dad if he would borrow him $3,000. And his dad says yes. And this is surprising for Dan because then he realized, wow, that he didn't really believe in himself 100%. But someone outside believed in his project and was willing to invest in him. So this gave him another boost of energy. So he again immersed himself in building, marketing, sales, funnels, websites, those ads like this one with Hedgehog, amazing. And he's so inspired and he's so sure about this product because he knows these people, he knows they use it, he has the expertise, he has the knowledge, he has the skills, he has everything. But at the end, this is another failure. Dan fails again. He's depressed. He failed in his mind. He had the knowledge, he had the skills, he had the expertise, but in the real world, nothing was working out for him. And then he starts writing his thoughts out, and he starts to do it every day, writing for clarity. Definitely not represented by this graph. Clarity is really important thing in Dan's life. He sees where he's worrying too much, where his thoughts are. So he finally speaks with his dad, and he must admit that he blew up all of the money. And his dad tells him, why don't you just take the job in web design? You have the skills. Dan is kind of afraid because this is a 9 to 5. So he decides to do two things. He will apply for the job as a web designer, but he will also do freelance at the same time. And surprisingly enough, Dan gets the job just like that. And it was really good paying job. And web development. Dan works right now in kind of 9 to 5 in web design, but also doing freelance at the side. And then, fueled with new money, Dan decides again, right now, he has the product and he knows what people are really in need of. Wallets. Stupid to say, but Dan immerses himself again into building this product. He invests all his money, funnels, websites, professional photo sessions, high quality products. But in the day of launch, he's afraid. He doesn't even launch. So at this time he doubles on freelance and the word starts to spread because Dan has expertise in many areas. He doesn't only build the websites, he knows SEO, he knows business, he knows sales, marketing, web design, social media, he knows a lot of stuff. At this point he's actually really successful and we could end the video here. But Dan wants something else. So Dan at this point thinks how he can make it business-like because his business right now is skill-based. He offers his services according to his skills, but he would like to do something else. He's seen on the internet those self-development coaches, and he is into self-development, but he doesn't have that much success in those areas. He has actually a lot of failures in his back. He has success with web design, okay, but he's not an expert. But then he saw someone talking about freelance web design on Twitter, and he had the same backlash YouTube fitness channel. Why can't he do the same? So on the day 23rd of November 2020, the legend is born. Dan Koe starts Twitter. Dan is willing to try again. And he's a Twitter newbie, but it doesn't matter. Dan creates the system for himself. He sees how important the networking is. But it's not so easy for him because he's an INFJ, which is not so outgoing type. Dan learns how to write content, how to catch attention, how to hold attention. He teaches this in his courses. And then it clicks. He doesn't have to appeal to everybody. He has to appeal to those 2 steps behind him, to those who just start as he did a few months before. If someone is willing to pay for the service made for them, they are willing to pay even more to do it with them. And so Dan, still being a Twitter newbie, decides to teach those 2 steps behind him. And quickly, 10 seconds, why teaching others is the best formula. You challenge yourself. You see other points of view. You learn more because you have to explain your knowledge. You get approach the project from other perspective. You gain authority, you gain experience, you earn money, and this will become like a cornerstone in Dan's philosophy. And he is only starting on Twitter, 300 followers. Goal is visibility. How a lot of people can see him. How he can grow the fastest. Where's the shortcut? And then he finds it. And the answer is so profound that he must stop. The next thing clicks. Because again, critical thinking at play. He is not here for short. Not for a month, not for 3 months, not for a year, not even for 10 years. He is here for a lifetime. This is his life's work. If he's here for a lifetime, success is inevitable. He just starts today, improves tomorrow, and doesn't quit forever. One thing which is so important that if he would have it before, he would succeed with YouTube, Instagram art, raving clothes, blue light glasses, and wallets. One thing, do you know what that is? Audience. If he would have the audience and could provide value, then this is a perfect match and he could sell anything. But then Dan thinks, is web design really the thing he wanted to talk about all his life? Does he want to be this freelance web designer guy? Is this really his niche? Because Dan is interested in psychology, in arts, in web design, in spirituality, awareness focus, learning, design, fitness, YouTube, Photoshop, photo editing, photography, art, psychology, philosophy, spirituality, a lot of shit. And he is thinking like, what's my real niche? What's my real niche? Do I really want to be this web designer guy? And then the answer is obvious. Dan decides to niche down. Do you know what niche he chooses? Nothing. Remember critical thinking? Because he is the brand, not as a web designer, but as a Dan Koe himself. He is the niche. He still can sell web design, but as himself, with his own face. Dan understands how important authenticity is, especially in those times of AI. To build the following, you got to be authentic. Dan realizes that he is interested in those 100 interests, and so do people. He likes those people that are talking about different things, and his web of interests is what makes him unique and what will make him stand out in the crowd. And this is, again, like a powerful philosophy of his life and of his business model. People don't want to listen, read, and watch robots. People want to have genuine experience, and it will be only stronger in the future. So, world needs authentic, genuine artists. In this philosophy of Dan Koe, there is a place for everybody. Because when you follow your interests, you talk about them, you learn how to be interesting with them. Everyone is a niche. You are the niche too. There's place for everybody. There's place for you. I know this sounds corny, man, but yeah, in a way, yes. Right now, Dan found what works for him, and he will just double down on it. Podcast, YouTube channel, Instagram. He then opens his Modern Mastery community for people that want to grow, which is awesome. I tried it and it's amazing people. So after a time, Dan changes from talking about freelance and web development, talking about more creative things, creativity, self-development, philosophy. And his system is kind of holistic, and it works like there's no weak spots in the system. Dan Koe in 2023 is a modern philosopher. He's writing his book and he will be publishing it soon, maybe even this year, The Art of Focus. Dan really wants a game in life. And just to sum up how he did it, he was always challenging the worldview. He was going counterintuitive, going and doing things no one did. He was obsessed with learning. He learned about himself, about spirituality, about focus, about being in the now. he connected this with learning. He learned valuable skills that he could then offer in exchange for money, for other services. He learned how to build community around himself about his knowledge. He also connects this with healthy lifestyle of health, productivity, rest, diet, exercises, a lot of things. And then he understands how important it is to have the presence in social media and how to do this exactly. And he was always willing to try and willing to fail, because he knew that every failure is just a rep that has to be done to come to success. And this was amazing. And he is a real inspiration for me. This is why I binged watch his content, his even old podcasts. And I'm spending like 100 hours to make this video. And this is a theory. And if you would like to see how I put those guidelines into practice and how I will use them to become a millionaire in 1 year, here's the video. Yeah, that's it. Thanks. Ouch.